Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mediumship Moments. I'm your host, Kim Dorham, second gen psychic medium. And I'm so excited to talk about today's topic, which is grounding. You may have heard about it in the news. There's been scientific studies. You know, I'm a bit of a science geek over it. And today I'm going to talk about how it can help you in the new year. I think it's a perfect start for the new year. We're in 2026 now. Yay. Anybody else break any of their resolutions yet? We're only 6 days in. Really? No, not? Good, good. Well, today we're going to talk about grounding, right? And what it is, why it's important, and actually give you a grounding technique or two that you can use when life is feeling a little overwhelming. All right? Let's dive into it, shall we? If you're ever feeling anxious or disconnected, panicky, like you just, things aren't feeling right or going right, there's a good word here, not quite here, people use, or emotionally flooded is another term that people use, then this is the episode for you. And you're like, why didn't I give you this over the holidays? Well, we all feel somewhat overwhelmed during the holidays, right? So this is more about setting an intention, setting your energy to begin the new year in a new way. I'll call it that. All right. So, and if grounding's been, suggested before and you felt really confused about it, that's okay. We'll try again, right? Well, don't worry about it. It didn't work. It's okay. Got a couple techniques that may bode well for you, okay? In a calm, practical type of conversation, nothing fancy, no pressure here. Just going to give you some simple tools. And then you can adjust it to what works best for you. All right? That's what I love. Is, tweak, make it your own. Make it your own. However, it will work in your day-to-day, everyday practice, so to speak. So, grounding, what is it? It's a way of bringing your intention back to right now. Like right now. So many of us, let's face it, we've got three phones going at one time. I mean, right now in the studio, I have three different screens at me at one time. Two phones, a couple of microphones. Yeah, life's a little. Whoa. Is anybody else doing this? You feel like you're, what's the word I'm looking for? Juggling. That's it. Yeah, we all are. And it comes at us quick. And we deal from task to task instead of being present in the moment, right? Especially when your mind and body feels like you've had too much. And we're talking about this brain drain with all of the technology that we're using nowadays. In fact, there's a phone out there I was just looking at that takes away all of these things that distract and drain our energy. We're going back to the old flip phones, kids. Remember those when they didn't have internet? And you're like, really? There was no internet? Just saying. I remember that. That's the idea, right? It's to bring you back to the present, to be where you are and interact in the moment. When you're grounded, you know where you are and what's going on around you, right? And what's happening inside of you. You can actually feel the shift. When you're not grounded, your anxiety's ramping up. And for all those people out there, my anxious Annies, and I know there's some, that's okay. You may feel spaced out, scattered. We talked about that. And your thoughts won't slow down. That's a big one. You feel overwhelmed and you're stuck replaying the past. These gentle grounding steps will make you feel present, here in the moment, and safe. Okay. And that's the idea behind it. Something important about grounding. It's not a magic switch here. I can't just, like with anything, this takes practice. Getting better at being present with your thoughts and your body and connecting to that mind-body connection is terribly important. But it's a place, to make you feel steady. And that's the part of it. It's to get you to the middle, to not be so overwhelmed. I mean, chill is good, but to be present where you are. So think of it like this, okay? And I think this is a really good analogy. Think of it like dropping an anchor in the middle of a storm. Any boaters out there? I have a couple hell of a stories during some storms. Actually, we had to throw two anchors out and run like hell to seek some coverage, but that's a story for another day. But that's the idea, right? Grounding is dropping that anchor in the middle of the storm And so the storm can still be going all around you, but you're not getting thrown around with every wave. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Let's talk about some physiological reasons why grounding is so important, right? Well, there's studies that have been shown that grounding is transferring of electrons. Ooh, I'm going science geeky. I didn't even warn you, right? From the earth into the body, which may act as a natural antioxidants to neutralize free radicals. We know about free radicals because free radicals in the blood cause inflammation. And what's the biggest criteria for cancer? Inflammation. So there are things out there that you can buy to help with you physical body being grounding. There's shoes that have copper. They look like little copper buttons on the bottom that ground you to the earth. Well, your house is grounded. I should hope it's grounded because if it's not and you get hit with lightning, boom, you can start a fire, right? So grounding is important for people. There's shoes that you could buy. I actually have the sheets that ground. And there's a little plug and it has a slow voltage that helps ground my energy. It's really important with all the people I deal with and all the things that I do. Grounding is terribly important, right? There's studies about it improving heart health. Go ahead and Google, sheets for grounding and take a peek at them. Studies reduce blood viscosity, thickness. So people that have AFib, right, need their blood thinned typically, and I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. Just read it on the web. All right. I'm a nurse. I know a little something. Anyway, viscosity, right? It lowers the risk of cardiovascular issues when you lower viscosity of your blood. Okay. Better sleep quality. I've talked about that. It's amazing. I sleep like a rock. People often ask me, do your angels talk to you while you're sleeping? No, damn it. And they better not. Girl needs her sleep. Grounding actually helps with circadian rhythms. And it may make you help go to sleep faster and sleep for a longer duration. I know it does for me. And I'm not getting any, if any companies out there that have grounding sheets that would love to sponsor Mediumship Moments podcast, bring it on because I love them. There's also study, and this is great for athletes, is that it helps, research has shown that it delays the onset of muscle soreness, right? That lactic acid buildup, right, is one of the things. They call it DOMS, right? Delayed onset muscle soreness. Suggests that grounding after exercise can reduce muscle damage and pain. And it's linked to faster wound healing. I'm not kidding. There's all this research about grounding and why it's so important. And the last part, and this is important for everybody, but also important because I'm blessed with it, immune support system. By reducing systemic stress and inflammation, grounding may help your immune system work more effectively. Oy, I think we all could use a little of that, right? Especially with what is going on nowadays. Whether everybody's got the croup and this flu is no joke. I forewarned you. Get your damn shots. But yeah, we all could use immune support, especially as we get older. So that's the physiological parts of why grounding is so important. Let's talk about the neurological, the nervous system. So your nervous system is there to protect you, right? The fight or flight. It's the boy's body kicking in going, huh, okay, here comes the bear, and I got to outrun it. I'm just saying. When something feels threatening, like the bear chasing you, whether it's physical or emotional, your body can flip into that fight or flight, that survival mode. Pardon me. Now, how does that show up? Fight or flight shows up as anxiety, panic, restlessness, feeling on edge, or you freeze and shut down. Numbness, disassociation, feeling, disconnected. In those moments, your brain isn't focused on the present. It's focused on protection. You might get pulled into the past. Old memories may come up, old fears, or pushed into the future. Everything can go wrong. Oh my God, I can't do that because right? So this is how the body protects when you're not grounded. Grounding helps gently sending a message back to your nervous system. You're safe. That's enough right now. I'm here, and this moment is manageable. If any of you ever I use the Calm app for meditation. And a lot of times they'll have you go back to the breathing. In fact, I use it in my techniques with you all. Well, why? It's because it brings you present. It anchors you to do something physiologically to stop any of that anxiety that may be coming forward, right? So think about that. Think about that. Just bringing it to your attention. So that message of being present often lands better when you're, as I just said, your senses, your breathing, or simple physical awareness. And that's why they're so effective with calm, and I just use it as an example, but any meditations that you're doing that get you back into using your physical body, fantastic, because it lessens that anxiety. It gets you grounded. It helps with emotional balance when you're grounded. You can feel emotions without being flooded. You can feel it, be present in it, but not overwhelmed by it. Second, it's a big support for anxiety and panic. Anxious Andy's out there, let's get you grounded. It'll bring you back to the now, the present. Third, grounding can be especially helpful in experiences of disassociation, that floatiness that you get, the feeling things don't quite feel right. And I'm not talking about your gut feeling. I'm talking about just where you are emotionally. It also builds resilience. Easy for me to say, resilience over time. The more you practice grounding, the easier it becomes, and it kicks right in as soon as stress hits. Yeah, I'm going to teach you a couple, right? And finally, the most important, grounding gives you a choice. Instead of being totally overtaken by your thoughts and your feelings, it gives you a bit of space, right? Between those feelings and what comes next. So, grounding is not a test. It's not something you fail at. It's not all one size fits all. There's different techniques and different exercises that you can use to get you grounded. So, some people, and I want you to look at this as like, well, this works for me and that doesn't work for me, But some people ground best through movement. Now, I'm a mover. I can't sit still. So ADHD. I use grounding techniques that invoke movement. Others through thinking, or a combination of both. Okay? Just keep that in mind. So you're encouraged to experiment. Maybe you want to use a physical exercise for grounding. Maybe you want to use something that's more cerebral. Okay. Whatever works. Just modify it. If it doesn't feel right, let's modify it. Okay. I did touch upon this. There's physical grounding. There's mental grounding. We're going to take one at a time. All right, folks? Okay. Y'all with me? I hope so. Physical grounding uses the body to sense, to bring you into the present moment. We're using that physical body, something on your body, one of those senses, to bring you into the now. Some examples would be feeling your feet on the floor. Yeah, I feel my feet on the floor now. And it's very interesting. When I worked with James Van Prague, when we went through meditations, it was very important to be grounded. Grounded, grounded, grounded. He was a huge fan. And he would take his shoes off. You don't need to do that. But he would take his shoes off to be really grounded. Notice the weight of the body in the chair. Maybe the cushion behind you or below you. You hear me use that in my meditations. Holding on to something cold or warm or textured. So, right? That tactile sense. Stretching or gently moving your body. Or taking slow, steady breaths. Right? There's a classic grounding exercise that you could use. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's a physical grounding. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. Let's do it. So we're going to start with 5 things you can see right now in your space. Now, if you're driving, careful. All right, careful. 4 things you can feel. 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Right? See, feel, hear, smell, taste. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, you don't have to do it perfectly or quickly. The goal is just to notice. Pretty cool, right? 5 things that I can see right now. I can see the sun outside. I can see the lights here in my office. I can see the cameras in front of me. I can see the microphone. I can see the beautiful candles that I have. Okay. Feel. What can I feel? Well, I can feel the microphone. It's got this ribbon, probably messing with the audio. I can feel the cushion behind me. I can feel my feet anchored to the floor. And I can feel my hands upon my dry skin. Just the season. Now, 3 things I can hear. I can hear the airplanes out in the distance. I can hear my room air purifier going. And I can hear the slow ticking of the clock to my right. 2 things I can smell. Well, good luck, because I'm a little wet on my snuffleupagus. But I can smell the white sage spray that I just got and used for the holidays here in the room. And what else can I smell? Oh, my lovely perfume. And then 1 thing I can taste. Well, here we go. Coconut water I just drank. Those physical things. 5 things I can see, 4 things I can feel, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, and 1 thing I can taste. That is a physical exercise to get you grounded, to be in the moment. My thoughts weren't racing. I didn't feel panicked or overwhelmed, nor did I feel disconnected from my body. If anything, it drew me back to the present of my body. Okay. It could be subtle, right? It doesn't have to be overwhelming and obvious. It can be subtle. You can press your toes into your shoes during a meeting, and you can notice your breath while waiting in line. 2 simple ways of being physically connected during what may be a stressful time. Let's talk about mental grounding and using your attention and thinking to bring you back to the present moment. Okay? Instead of turning to physical sensations, some people are better with cerebral. It's your focus on facts, details, or simple neutral mental task. Things that can help your mind reorient to the now. Some easy examples of mental grounding would be naming objects you see in the room. Guess what? I just did that. Counting backwards. That's always a fun thing when we're putting you under anesthesia. Kidding. You hardly ever get to 95. I'm just saying, but good luck. From 100. Doing simple math. No, not trig. Nope. Nope. No geometry here. Simple math. Listening to listing categories like animals, foods, or cities. Or describing your surroundings in detail. All ways to mentally ground yourself to the now. When you do orientations over helping, try and orientate you to mental grounding, it's like it's Tuesday afternoon. I'm in my living room. I'm an adult and I'm safe now. Simple. All right. Mental grounding can be especially helpful if you're stuck in memories. They'll think about it. A lot of that happened over the holidays. You may be regurgitating things. Your thoughts may be looping with anxiety. We tend to play back. The brain needs to be busy. It needs to be busy. It creates anxiety so it keeps functioning. So, or if you're trying to carve out some structure and clarity, perfect time to do. It's the beginning of the year. Some people find mental grounding much easier than body-based grounding, especially if the body feels unsafe or overwhelmed. Just keep that in mind. A lot of people mix the two, mental and physical techniques together. For example, feeling your feet on the floor while naming something. You can say, I mentioned that. Holding on to something textured while counting your breaths. Anybody else tactile that they'll hold on to maybe their sweater? Uh, and then one breath, two breaths. Gently stretching while reminding yourself where you are. I do that here in the office. I do a little Tai Chi. Yes, it's a good way of grounding or moving my energy. Think of grounding like a menu, right? Not a prescription. What feet keep and what doesn't, leave. It's the best way to describe that, okay? Let's talk about a few struggles that you may run into. I hear this all the time when I work with some anxious Annies to try and get you all to do this. Sometimes that grounding doesn't work for me. It wasn't the right fit, or it hasn't been practiced long enough to really take effect. Listen, 21 days. You want to break a behavior? Smoking? You want to start working out? 21 days. You need to do it 21 days for it to inset into being uh, part of your everyday type of behavior. It makes me more anxious. Well, if that's the case, try mental grounding or using an external object instead. Body-based grounding, move to mental. Just a thought. I forgot to use it. Well, we all do, right? Like any skill, it takes practice. But I do it every day. I open up my chakras every day to work with your energy or to work with my spirit guides, shut down my chakras, and I have to ground myself as part of that exercise. And I feel silly doing it. Well, get over yourself. No, kidding. You're not alone. Many people feel awkward at first, right? That feeling fades over time. Okay? I'm going to bring you now to a short guided grounding practice. Yeah, it's a little technique here. You ready? Oh, if you're listening while doing the dishes, crocheting, driving, I don't know if you could do this while you're driving, but stay safe. But here we go. Take a moment to observe where you are. If it feels okay, notice your feet. I know if you're driving, careful. Wait till you get to the office. If it feels okay, notice your feet. Feel how they contact the floor. No need to change anything. Just notice. Just notice. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Look around and silently say 3 things you can see. Pause. Notice 2 things you can feel. Maybe the chair, your clothes. Pause. Notice 1 sound you can hear. Take 1 more slow breath. This is the shortened version. 3 you can see, 2 you can feel, 1 you can hear. 3, 2, 1. With a couple pauses and some breaths in between. You feel better? I feel better. I always feel better when I ground, right? And just gently remind yourself, I'm here in this moment. I'm present. So many of us aren't. But I'm hoping that helped, okay? I want to talk about some crystals. Yep, I'm going hippy-dippy on you. It's okay. Some crystals that help with grounding. Now remember, I'm science-based, and these things physically have helped me. I thought it was a little woo-hoo too, but they do. So I'm going to name 3, right? Black tourmaline. And I don't want to get from my office to show you that I have them in my desk, but they're over there. So black tourmaline. It's powerful for protection, repelling negativity, and shielding from EMFs, electromagnetic fields. Kind of important. Purifying the mind and body. Get you some. Smoky quartz. I have that right back there. That bar. Absorbs negativity, brings calm, and helps you stay centered in a chaotic environment. Get some. It's good for anxiety relief. For all you anxious Annies out there. Get you some smoky quartz. And then black obsidian. It's deeply protective, helps clear energy blockage. It grounds you during intense work. So if you have a project coming up that's going to really, really take your energy, get some black obsidian. Okay. Making grounding your own is really about building a connection with yourself, not control. It's just building a connection with your body. You're allowed to change some of these techniques, stop and restart, figure out which one works for you. But just even trying it, I think you'd find it just extremely helpful. It's important to do. I've given you physical reasons why it's helpful, and mind body spirit connection. Start off the new year, everybody. Learn to ground and be present in the moment. Okay? Now, as always, I'd like to end my Mediumship Moments podcast with a mediumship moment. And this just happened to me recently. Well, you see, I was up in Bucks County last week for an open house. My cousin has a beautiful home up there, and she opens it up to all of her family and friends, and we just have a blast. She decorates beautifully. I mean, truly, she should be up at Macy's in New York City doing their windows because she's got quite the flair for it. But beautiful home, beautiful energy, great food, and fun with the families and friends. And let's face it, it's more fun to do it while it's a happy occasion. As we get older, there's less and less of those, and I was so happy to be up there with my cousin. I went early the day before to help in and pitch and give her a hand, because that's a lot to do. That's a lot to do. Plus, it gives us some cuz time together, which, I always enjoy. We had a wonderful time at the party. The next morning, we were cleaning up, and at the party, what was interesting, as always, we reminisced. And it's interesting. My mom was born on Thanksgiving and her mom was born on Christmas. Yeah, I know. Pretty cool. And we were talking about our dads and missing our family. And my father was my cousin's godfather. Those two had a very, very special bond. And she'd come down to Florida and hang out with him. And I could do no wrong if I was with my cousin, as far as my father saw. Truly, truly. I was headed home from Bucks County, that lovely party, when Waze alerted me to change my route. There was an accident. I ended up, instead of taking 95 home and going over the Ben Franklin, they rerouted me to the Tacoti Palmyra. Yes, I never take that, and I never go that route. Well, I listened to Waze, rerouted, and I ended up in traffic right next to, I couldn't believe this happened, right in front of the Goldberg's Peanut Shoes building. And you're like, why is that important? That was my father's absolute favorite piece of candy. Absolute, absolute. My cousin had shared the story about bringing them. She would bring them down to Florida, and she'd send them as Christmas gifts because my dad couldn't always get them down in Florida. I looked at it as a sign that my dad was with me. He was at the party. Of course he was. We watched the Eagles game later that Sunday, and my father and her father had season tickets for over 52 years. It brought a warmth to my heart, and I just figured that was a subtle way of my dad letting me know he was with me. Look for those subtle signs. They're all around. Now, is everything a sign? No. If it warms your heart and it connects to you in some way, you don't need a medium to tell you it was a sign, but I shared that nonetheless. As I often say, keep chatting with your angels because they can hear you.